evening, everybody. Welcome back to PSGL. George Morgan here, your commentator, alongside me, TK, who is going to be rounding off the season with me. Down the inside, absolutely impossible scene.
This is for the win between these two.
I'm on the edge of my seat.
He needs to get it done now.
Blakey will dive to the inside.
We're robust. We got our elbows out.
Ronar takes the lead.
Because here comes Alfie Butcher.
Can't really complain with that one.
It's not going to be easy. The pressure is on, of course.
Yarda Watmere is your champion.
Good evening and welcome back to PSGL. It is time for round 5 and we get ourselves over to Austria for some mighty fine racing action. My name is Corey Brooks, one of you two commentators for this evening. Join with me in the booth, it's Omer. How are we doing, my friend?
Hello Corey, welcome back. We've had such a great season and it's ready to continue here in round number 5 of our season 41, of course. It should be another exciting round. We go from Monaco to a circuit where you can't really overtake, to Austria where there's plenty of overtaking opportunities.
Absolutely, and as you can see the track map, Austria and Spielberg, 4.381 kilometers long and only 10 turns. One of the fastest, if not the fastest, calendar on the circuit in terms of lap times, but it's also, I don't think it's the shortest either. I think it's just falling a little bit short of being the shortest calendar on the circuit, but nevertheless it certainly has plenty of places for overtaking action and plenty of places for some controversial moments. I'm talking about turn 3, so keep your eyes peeled for that one.
Yeah, there is plenty of exciting parts of this racetrack which deliver us with action, and that is exactly what you're going to look out for when it comes to the race. 36 laps, but just before that, 18 minutes of qualifying.
Absolutely. Now, don't going to keep you waiting any longer. We have had a little bit of a delay before we got going on the stream, but the first set of laps are now starting to come your way. So we're going to get trackside, and then just as we get to the start of the race, I'll quickly flash the standings so you can see where people are and where we go.
Yep. Here we go then.
Oh, wow. Why has it done that?
Out there on the circuit.
It's the wrong size. I apologise. Bear with me.
Oh. As Corey fixes that, we have got drivers pushing on out there on the circuit. The first push laps then taking place. We have got a few changes to our field in terms of course, we've got a lot of drivers missing. We've got reserves stepping in, but we've got 2 new drivers to PCF2. I say new, that might be the wrong word to use for one of them. Gabor returns back. He has dominated the F3 title this year so far, leads it by 14 points. He's taken 2 wins. That was the start of the season at Australia and Spa. He's also had a second at Monaco, his worst result being a 10th at Kota. So he's absolutely dominated in the F3 level. So he's moved back to F2. He was demoted in the first place due to getting a 24th last season. So it was a bit of a disappointment, but he's gone into F3, proven why he still deserves to be here, and now has returned back to this tier. And coming over from PlayStation, he's not alone. He's not alone. Coming also from PlayStation, we get the driver of Lorera, who is at the bottom of your timing board, 19th at the moment. Now, in season 40, he realistically should have been the PS F1 champion, but he had 6 starts where he did not start the race. So 6 races where he didn't start, but every race he did do was on the podium. And this season, Corey, he is leading the PlayStation title, the PlayStation F1 season, by 36 points. Now that's a big margin after 4 rounds. He's won the opening 3 rounds of it, and he's taken pole in all those 3 races as well, and he's had a second in Monaco for both qualifying and the race. Now, of course, he won't compete in that championship anymore, but that's just to give you a bit of an idea of his level of dominance over in PlayStation and why he's coming straight to us here in PCF2.
Well, there you go. Some fantastic statistics to show the driver is very capable of bringing some challenge here to the PC F2. As you can see, currently sat in 4th position on that opening banker lap. Bit of a snap there from Sergio Sabrino, who went for the double out lap. So this time lap certainly is not going to be one that he's going to be proud of or happy with, as he came out of turn 1. But as we look further down the field, we'll take a little look at Leo Lund. He's coming into Sector 2 right about now, just getting towards the lovely turn 6 and 7 fast double left-handers, where you need to really be on the racing line or you'll shed tenths of a second, because it's all about maintaining that exit speed out of number 8 now, and also trying to keep your foot pinned as you come around turn number 9. Leo Lund, what sort of pace shall we see from the McLaren driver?
That is exactly the question, as he sends the car in, hoping that it delivers the performance as he comes over the line and improved up to second position. So definitely a decent lap, has put himself behind Tony Hietala. Remember, we are battling over a single point that is available, but that single point can be the critical point when it comes to the end of the season, because this championship has been wide open so far. We've had 4 out of 4 in terms of different pole sitters so far this season, 3 of which has seen a driver take their first pole in F2. And I think the really special one, Corey, was Nelson Alves. You weren't here for it, but he took pole position at Kota on his 40th start. He'd gone 39 race starts without a pole at this level, and on his 40th, he was able to get himself to the quickest time and then went on to win the race that day as well. So qualifyings have been really special, and we've had close qualifyings, and we've had different drivers who've ended up on top.
Oh yeah, nice to see, but for Kid and Lot, it's not nice to see though. Invalid out of the final turn. It's good you mentioned on Nelson Alves. 2 podiums this season, of course, taking that round. I can't remember which race it was, but taking the victory last time. And obviously, he's had a P2 podium already. So keep your eyes peeled on Nelson Alves. Currently sat 3rd there. Could be looking at another podium. If not, strike back and get a victory. We have only had one driver take 2 victories this season, being Luca Rapassa. So currently leading the standings, but not by much. I've got to say that, Omi. Still well and truly open so far as we get going into round 5. Anybody could make crucial inroads here with one good race or high points finishing position. But now it looks like everybody's finished with their opening bank of laps. Just a couple more drivers popping themselves out for what could be their time to improve. I think, is Ray's Intiaz? No, I think they're all coming on in laps now. Pascal Ranelli, not to get a time on the board as of yet. And Caden Lowe, we just saw with that invalidation out of the final corner. Gabriel Quintino as well, looking like he was having a double out lap, has failed on his initial push lap. You've seen that 1:22 time. So certainly not representative of Quintino's pace in the slightest. Just wait and see as we get under 11 minutes to go now in qualifying.
Yeah, another important thing to mention, Quintino has been promoted to the full-time spot, so no longer a reserve. Liam Stevens, the driver who finds himself 8th in our points battle this season, well, he's had a bit of a tough start, a tough 4 rounds by his standards, so he decided to step away, and Gabriel Quintino has been given that chance. So it's going to be exciting to see how he is going to get on. But as you mentioned, the cars making their way back into the pit lane, but some of them making their way out onto the circuit, one of which, Ranieri, who really needs to get a lap time on the board because he's currently not got that, down in 19th position. The Italian driver for the Italian team looking to try and find a decent time in what is his 2nd season here with us in the 2nd tier. But now the drivers have had one go at it. It's time to take a step forward, take an improvement, and do a better tour of the 11 turns of the Red Bull Ring.
Absolutely. Good you mentioned Pascal Ranelli. We'll jump on board with Ranelli. Now, ignore the visual bug. I can guarantee he does have a front wing attached to that car. It's, I don't know why it's done. I think it's because I've joined qualifying when the session was literally loading in, so maybe I've been hit with a bit of a visual bug, but it looks rather funny to see the Ferrari without a nose cone. And across the line he goes to start what will be his first timed lap, but the 2nd set of laps to come your way as everybody else starts to flood that track on their out lap. Crucially, getting that tyre temperature in so they can push on and gain every 100th, every 1,000th of a second. It could prove crucial in qualifying here. Of course, Austria being such a short track, not many places you can gain time, so qualifying is going to be a high factor here in the race. It's very easy to overtake in some places, but don't forget you could find yourself in a little bit of a train as you try and manage those tyres and struggle for any easy opportunities that come your way. Pascal Ranelli just trying to avoid a little bit of traffic now as we get going to start off Sector 3.
Absolutely. And yes, while this is one of the circuits where you can overtake, as you mentioned, you can get stuck in trains, and with this game cycle, no matter where we go, it is going to be tricky just with the way the game is. Ranieri then rounds the final few corners, has kept it within the white lines, which is very critical around Austria. We have seen plenty of lap times lost, including the F3 session that was just going on for qualifying an hour ago. Ranieri improved to P3 that time by, so doing exactly what we mentioned. The driver who is going to be looking to try and secure a good result to try fight back has had a rough start to this season, and it's great to see him back up there in third. But plenty of other drivers also are going to try and get ahead.
Eli Carapasa, for example, coming out of the final corner, current standings leader. He's going to hit that checkered flag and only improve one position up to P7. Not able to find any crucial time here in the opening stages of qualifying. Some more drivers to hit that line and put in their times. Oscar Furheim is one of them. Will we see any improvement come? No, that was an invalidated lap, probably out of the final corner. The invalidation has carried on through this next lap. So the final corner is claiming some victims. We keep seeing this happening on lap after lap.
We are indeed. It's, well, you do all of the work for the entire lap and then it all can fade away if you just cannot nail that final bit of the lap. And it is so unfortunate as well for the drivers, because when you get to that part of the lap, you're getting the delta, you're seeing whether you're improving or not, whether you're improving by the margin you would have wanted. And if you aren't, then you really want to send it through those final few corners. It's really risk versus reward. That'll really come your way in the final runs where it is all on the line, but the drivers continue to push on. It's Hietala, Lund, Ranieri, Tulki and Pressakan, your top five at the moment in time. Lund is still currently pushing on, making his way through, is the McLaren man, who has had a best qualifying result of 6th this season. That was at Spa, that was at Monaco. His other result as well was 10th at Texas. He didn't compete with us in the season opening round at Australia, but now let's see what Lund is going to do here at Austria though. And he's invalidated the lap time, so we're not going to get the answer to that question for now. It was 300s down anyway, Corey, but he is the closest challenger to Hietala, and I think he's definitely got a bit of intent coming later on. He's definitely going to try and go for that pole position right at the end of this session.
Yeah, absolutely. A driver that could potentially pull that out as well. You know, Hietala was on a push lap, but has chose to not even hit the checkered flag, went diving into the pit lane at the end of it. So maybe a moment for Hietala, not able to find any more time, not happy with that. He's just going to wait it out to the final closing minutes. On board with Pressacano, I think maybe on a push lap. I'm not entirely sure. I'm having a look for that ERS line. It is not flashing from what I can see as we go firing around turn number 6 and number 7 now.
We do indeed. So we continue to make our way around this circuit. A short lap means you can quickly do an out lap, quickly do a push lap, quickly do an in lap, and find your way back in the pit lane and preparing to repeat the entire process again, which is going to now be at the important part of the session where the circuit will be at its best. The drivers, I mean, they have been practicing, but they do, as they get into the lobby, they get a few moments to breathe and then they're straight into it. Now it's where it's all on the line. It's very rare that a driver is going to come into this session and do what they managed in practice. If someone does, then that is always a special lap. That is always special. It can happen, and it's always special when we do see it. But as they come into the pit lane and end off this run, Lutz still needs to push on and find a proper lap time. He's the only driver in this session who hasn't got a lap time on the board as well. So it's going to be fascinating to see whether he'll be able to amend that. 4 minutes to go on the clock.
We're on board with Pascal Ironelli. He's on a push lap now, coming into Sector 2. We sorted out Pressakan did improve up to P3 with a 102.6. Well, Pascal Ironelli's backing out of that one, 4/10 down. Not happy in the slightest. So no time improvements come for the Veloce Academy driver as we wait on to see who is next to give it a go. But the clock is hitting under 4 minutes now. As you mentioned, Omi, this is where the drivers wait for that crucial time to come out, where the track will be at its peak, at its best. The track evolution being a crucial factor in what can help these drivers along in finding crucial lap time when it's needed the most.
Yep, Absolutely. And here we go then. We're about to get them all out onto the circuit once again. I have to say, currently doing a very good job is Oscar Furuheim, who is right now running in 7th position. That would be way higher than what he managed in the opening 2 rounds. He wasn't with us for the last 2 rounds, but in the opening 2, it was a 15th and a 16th in qualifying. So a big, big step forward for Oscar as it stands. Oscar, who was the PlayStation F1 champion last season, moving over to PC. It has been great to see what he's been able to do, and he's definitely looking the most competitive we've seen him so far, so this should be quite exciting to see whether he can improve from that P7. Not long to find out. The drivers are on their outlaps, and we've got a point on the line and track position, which is so important, no matter what circuit we're at on this game.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree with you more. You want to know that you're in control of the race if you are leading, and know where your head is at in the Grand Prix. You need to manage your tyres, or do you need to bridge a gap, potentially break DRS from your rival behind. But if you've got no pressure or dirty air in front of you, it's nice to maintain that control of the race. And of course, everybody wants to be leading. Everybody wants to win. It's why they're all here. They don't just show up to finish where they finish. Every driver wants to take that crucial victory and move up ever higher in the standings. For Shan Jacobs now pushing on into Sector 2. Will there be any improvement to come? Was not entirely up on the Delta out of Sector 1, but as we got going around turn number 4 now, going towards 5, and the lovely fast-handers, the left turn 6 and 7, are about to finish off that Sector 2 and see if there are any improvements to come. 10th up on the Delta for Rishan Jacobs. We'll see him move up quite a few positions as long as they can hold this lap out.
Yep, here we go. Turn number... No, oh, he's lost the car, spinning round. The traffic was... well, they were out of the way was the traffic, but it can always be a distraction, and he spun, and Isaac Leeds got himself a good penalty, so we'll surely need a bit of a restart depending on what they decide on that. But he got to the end of the lap and lost the car, went spinning round, and now he's missing an end plate.
Oh, that's unfortunate there. That is absolute disaster for Rishan Jacobs. Looking to improve on the Delta time. Just final couple of corners proved a little bit too much for the Racing Bulls driver. But now we look on to anybody else who's to come flying towards the line. Is that Leo Lund? Yes, it is. Out of the final corners, almost copying the same route as Rishan Jacobs. Out of turn number 9. All over the place. Off the track. Trying to rejoin for 10. It's getting dangerous, and they're struggling out here, Omi. They are really struggling to finalise this lap out. Sector 3 is claiming victims.
It really is. Bone went up to 2nd place. So Bone went up to that front row spot at the moment. Is he going to be able to keep it though? As we make our way through here, Tala is now finally beginning a push lap. That'll be his response to try and maintain the pole position. Presakan is already invalidated the lap time. We're into the final seconds of this qualifying session. The checkered flag is flying. Laurie Tulke making his 25th start in F2 is already confirmed for P6. We have Presakan, who is going to be moving down to fifth now, because improving up to 3rd went Prigibel. So Gregory Prigibel found the time. Good effort from him, but not enough to improve all the way to the front of the field. Sergio Sabrina's retired. He is in 9th. But now the interesting question remains, who is going to try and challenge for this pole? Well, it won't be Leo Lund. He's going to dive it into the pit lane. Nelson Alves will be making his way through around the final few corners as well. Not a lot of contenders to try and deny Tony Italo. Still pushing on, and Alves loses it. Alves spins round the final corner. He was all out on the attack, and it won't be the improvement that Rapassa finds. Rapassa is up to 8th position. Here, Tala, well, he didn't get much challenge at the end. He's come over the line, didn't improve, but really doesn't need to, it looks like.
No, it looks like that is it. Qualifying's done and dusted. Any other drivers who could potentially challenge for ever higher positions? Isaac Leah invalidated, and the only other driver that I can take a look at is Alejandro, who is completely invalid. So that is it. Qualifying done and dusted. Hitalo secures pole position. Conrad Bohm, in a turn of events, jumps up to P2. Gregory Prezebo to block out that 2nd row with his teammate Leo Lund. Tudor Presakan, Pascal Irinelli, Larry Tulke, Luca Rapassa, Nelson Alves, and Sergio Sabrino locking out that top 10.
just to confirm to you, we will be having a restart. So I think that's perfect, Corey. So we'll be able to run through the standings, which we didn't get to earlier. So we'll have a bit of extended time for that as well with a restart. Because, well, in this game cycle, with it all happening very quickly, we don't usually get too much time, but we will have it on the one occasion that we need it. Now, it's very rare that you get to an end of an F2 session at this high level, and we see so many errors, but the bumps were, I think, causing plenty of issues at the end of the lap, because the amount of cars that I saw either nearly losing it or losing it right at the end, and I think for Jacobs, the dirty air, even though the cars are out of the way, it wouldn't have done much good.
No, that broken it wasn't as clean as he'd like it to be as he comes firing around the fast turn 9 and turn 10. It's very easy to just completely lose it off the line and run it wide. We saw a couple of drivers all over the show coming out of the final 2 turns, and it cost them their laps and their chance to move ever higher. But Atala locks out that pole position, who has been the fastest man all session, dare I say. So looking like Atala could be the one to score some crucial points, as he is only 4 points behind your leader, Luca Rapassa. We're now going to take a quick look at the standings when we come back to our commentator's corner, because now it's time for our lobby restart. Yeah, that unfair 5th-place grid drop given to one of our drivers after a bit of an unfortunate turn of events. The collisions are turned on, so it can happen, and in the event of a grid drop, we do always restart to get the grid set correctly and get rid of those nasty, unfair penalties. But, Ome, I'm about to pull up the standings, so why don't you take us away with that one?
Yeah, absolutely. What interesting standings we have. And the reason why I say interesting, it's close. Luca Rapassa leads the title battle with 39 points after 4 rounds of racing. Hiyatala, 4 behind that. He's in second place, our pole sitter for today, taking his 4th pole in F2 as well. Alves in 3rd when it comes to the championship. Then we get a bit of a gap back to Joe Murphy, who isn't with us, so he might be losing some ground by the end of today. Leo Lund's in 5th, and then it is Zorzo, Sabrino, Stevens, Prigibel, and Laurie Tulke, our top 10 as well. Ranieri looking for a good round. He's in 11th. Dowd's in 12th. Then Lutt, Adams, Bohm, Pressakan, Leet, Jacobs, Imtiaz, Modler, Robert, Furuheim, Van Zelter, Quintino, and Renz Thomasen complete our order. So that is how the championship standings look. All still close, all still in the balance, and it's all set up perfectly for now round 5 Austria.
And crucially, what you can also see, 3 different race victors. Tony Hitala has just had consistent points finishes, sits himself down in second in the standings, only getting 1 P2. Could Hitala make it the 4th race victor in this season? So Hitala, although worthy contender for the championship, is yet to have a taste of victory in this season. And we will take a look at the results from last time out in Monaco. It's a weird one again. They're all different sizes for some reason. I don't know why things have gone this way. But whoa, now it's gone even worse. Bear with me. There we have it. Luca Rapassa in qualifying, taking out that pole position with Joe Mercy and Nelson Alves lining up just behind. And then the unofficial race results, which I don't really think has taken any change in the order for any penalties coming from the stewards, has seen Rapassa take that victory, making 2 victories this season when Nelson Alves takes that P2 podium and Joe Murphy lining up in 3rd. And the official results are as follows. Diego Zorzo in 4th, Atala, Larry Tulke, Liam Stevens, Keegan Lott, Rashan Jacobs, and Reyes Imtiaz. So an interesting Monaco Grand Prix. And now we get ourselves ready for what could be an interesting Red Bull Ring Grand Prix in Austria. Now, before we go further, quick little look at the calendar to see what is yet to come our way. We have Canada, Great Britain, and then we have Mexico. Before we say happy holidays, enjoy your Christmas, and we'll see you next year in the new year. And we come back for Mexico City for the PS side of things, but not for us. We come back for Jeddah for round 9, Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi to finish off the season. And what a place to finish off any season over in the UAE. I've got to say that on me. What's your thoughts on an Abu Dhabi finale?
Oh, perfect. And it looks like we've got a title fight that could go down there. So it's all perfectly laid out in terms of calendar, in terms of grid as well. But I want to quickly put a bit of emphasis on Tony Yatala and his qualifyings. They have been absolutely remarkable He's the driver with the most pole positions in this field, on this grid. He now puts himself up to 4 in total as well. That puts him alongside drivers like Luke Smith, Alfie Butcher, Kanakinchi, Yus Norodike, Tamas Gal, Lenny Pepinta, and Joris Krozen. Lots of drivers who are part of that 4 club. And considering he's consistently now doing it round after round after round, it definitely looks like he could go and take a few more pole positions. He's the first repeat pole sitter, of course, of this season. Up ahead, we've got Max Riesel, we've got Lukumski, who used to be with us, of course, last season as well. Ronar's also got 7. You've got Hudendop at 9. And the driver, you won't be surprised to know if you watched last season, who has the most poles in PSGL PCF2, Angela Di Hortensio, at 10. Now, this has been very competitive when it has come to qualifying, but the thing is, Corey, the point is, Hietala, he's taken those poles, but he's also taken those seconds, thirds, fourths, just being up there within the mix, putting himself in great contention for the races.
Things are looking to go the way of Tony Hietala here out tonight, but can he turn that pole position into a victory, yet to take that top spot here in this season? But for round 5, could be the one to take it away. We have 3 different race victors as mentioned, and the double race victor of Luca Rapassa currently sat leading, but not by much. He can still be caught, not under any sort of comfort zone is the best way to say it. Not just sat there relaxed, certainly could be feeling some pressure as we start to get to the halfway point into the season. So I'm excited to see how things are going to pan out and play out as we go in for 36 laps here in Austria. So plenty of laps to go, plenty of racing, plenty of chances to overtake and get past your rivals. With Hietala setting themselves up as the fastest man in the field so far in qualifying, can we see the similar pace in the Grand Prix? I suspect we can, Omi. He's a driver of high calibre, of skill and a bit of restraint as well. Have been known to wait for opportunities to fall his way, but also has the aggression to make those opportunities happen.
Yeah, that is exactly the case. Now we are all getting set and ready for what should be quite a thrilling race. It's going to definitely be one that could be in the balance all the way till the end. I want to go back to last season's race. It was our season opener for the game cycle in terms of the calendar and the season 40. It was a race which had weather that came into play. We had 2 stops. We had plenty going on. And it was, if we look back at the entire season, one of the highlights of the whole campaign. So I'm expecting more of the same. Now, of course, we're a few rounds in to this season, but it's a perfect race to come to. A short, little, snappy race circuit. We've got 36 laps. We've got more of the same in terms of strategies, and who knows what the weather will do as well. There's so many different possibilities. It's a perfect way to continue this season with a championship that is absolutely going the distance, with a championship which no one's been able to take control of like we've seen in other seasons of F2 previously.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm excited to see what is going to happen, of course. This is an exciting Grand Prix. It's always been known for bringing a level of excitement, a level of constant overtakes, but strategy is also a crucial factor here. And the weather is not known to stay always dry in Austria. We have known to have wet Grand Prix, changing conditions, torrential weather. So drivers also need to take a look at the little screens that they get and to try and plan this correctly, because the sky is not looking completely sunny. It's looking a little dull and a little grey on me, because we are about to get ourselves over to the track.
Yeah, not looking as sunny as some may have wanted. Now, Luca Rapassa did tell me earlier that he wanted a wet qualifying. I'm not sure what was his thoughts on a wet race, or what were the thoughts of anyone on a wet race. But, of course, looking at the sites that we have in the pit lane, it isn't completely clear. Of course, at the start we'll be dry, but who knows? Some rain could come down and we could have another wet-affected Austria race here in F2.
Well, like I say, in history, we've known it to be very wet at times, changing conditions, and of course we've had the dry Grand Prix, but the lights are on. It is 5, 3, 4, 5 lights The grid is hot, the drivers are ready and very fast, and away we go. Nobody's waiting for this one to start because it's already underway, barreling towards turn 1. Drivers looking left and right for open doors to come their way. Leo Lund moving up a position onto no Pressacan, having a beautiful start there, going side by side all the way up towards turn number 3. Is Pressacan going to be able to fight this off? Leo Lund benefiting with that inside line, as we see Pascal here and Ailey also trying to fight his way through, and we have a massive pile up. Couple drivers making contact to the rear of others, wings flying, carbon's gone, and everybody's trying to fall back in line and make the moves as early as possible. To know Pressacan once again diving to the inside. We have Larry Toolkey looking to try and make some moves, and Nelson Alves now looking to capitalise on that compromised line from the Alpine driver. Nelson Alves moves up one. Anybody else looking to make any sort of opportunistic moves? We'll see the Aston Martin's going for it. It's Gabriel Quintino looking to try and move up positions, fighting away with Reyes Imtiaz.
What an exciting start. It's going to continue down towards the final corner. Pasquale Ranieri. That is brave, that is bold, and that's a position gained. Into the pit lane we go with Tudor Pressacan. He's slowed them all up, and it's created a bit of a pack making its way down towards the first turn now. We've got a whole bunch of them all squabbling for positions as we head up to Niki Lauda curve, and further back, Keaton Lott looking for a way through on Isaac Leet. It looks like he has got there, and he has taken the position. Now we go single file until we get down towards the braking zone of turn number 3, and a braking zone where Leo Lund looks to try and continue on his charge. He's already got ahead of his teammate. Sergio Sabrino is fighting his way by on the championship leader, who is losing a position, but still Leo Lund trying to clear, and that could be very, very tight. Bohm with the DRS got so close to the side of Hietala. The top 3 maintaining order. I say that in a few meters, will that be the case? Because around the outside will try go Leo Lund, who is heaping the pressure on in the early phases of the race.
Oh, things are certainly spicing up, and as you can see the tyre allocation on your screen, everybody on the mediums except Quintino, Santos and Tudor Pressacan, who's now just boxed and swapped for those hard compounded tyres. So mediums all around, apart from those 2 drivers who have tried to play it a little bit risky, but they're going to go along. They're going to see how it plans out. Is 2-stop a factor here? Is that going to be the way it is? With just how fast and how quick you need to send it through these 10 turns to try and maintain a decent race pace further down the order. Oscar Furheim's had a moment into turn 1, and we're 3 wide, coming up the main straight up towards turn number 3. Oscar Furheim defending for his life as Alejandro goes to the outside, forced a long way around. He's gone deep and made contact with Sabrino, and he's falling down the order. That's unfortunate there for Gabriel Quintino, I think, who's cost himself a couple positions. Yeah, there goes the end plate, but he's managed to try and get going once again, and a big gap has opened. Larry Toolkey, Reyes Imtiaz side by side as we get going into turn number 4. Who's going to come out on top of this one? It'll be Reyes Imtiaz to take that position.
The 2 teammates for this specific week were side by side. It got very, very close as well. Talking about it getting close, that is brave stuff from Luca Rapassa, trying to clear Nelson Alves. 2 of our race winners from this season, 2 of our pole sitters from this season, and that is going to be around the outside. They're very close to making contact. We've not got a full end plate for Alves. It means that Rapassa is pressuring him round the final corner on this circuit through turn number 10, and now down the start finish straight. It's still neck and neck between the pair of them until Alves inches ahead, but Rapassa is going to try to continue to fight this one. The issue he's got is that the more they battle, they are bringing Sergio Sabrino into play, who is further back and waiting for the opportunity. Meanwhile, dive bomb on the brakes goes Leo Lund, looking to try and take second place. He can't do it, and Alves just stays ahead of Luca Rapassa, and now here comes Sabrino to try and have his attack as Leo Lund continues to try and get through. He's got the inside line, and he's finally got the position as well, but around the outside Alves loses out, and Sabrino's managed to clear both of them at the same time as Leo Lund was making that move.
Beautiful stuff for Sabrino to get on through, but we see Rapassa and Nelson Alves going absolute all-out aggression side by side. Nelson Alves missing end plates. He's going to struggle here in Sector 2 where you need the downforce, get the rotation into the car, and you can see he was struggling now, losing out to Oscar Furheim. I think we may see Alves into the pits to change that wing. That's far too much damage. No, he's staying out. He's going to risk it, try and go a little bit longer.
Yep, that is what he's doing at the moment. Over the line we go. Lap number 5 of this 36-lap race begins, and a 7-10 advantage for Tony Hietala. The previous lap saw a switch between Leo Lund and Conrad Bohm. Gregory Prigibel is running in P4. Pasquale Ranieri has got the possession of P5 at the moment in time, but we look back to the dive bombs, and Alves opens up the steering wheel. Meanwhile, we're wheel to wheel. Pasquale Ranieri trying to beat Gregory Prigibel down towards turn number 4. Ferrari versus McLaren down to the braking zone. Inside doesn't work for Ranieri. What about the outside line? They get so close, and it's 3 wide with Conrad Bohm as well. So that was braking points not being judged to perfection. It created a 3 wide moment. It creates an opportunity now for the driver Prigibel, who moves on by, and we're still side by side, and it looks like Ranieri is wheel to wheel with Conrad Bohm, and it's getting super tight between the two of them. Ranieri with the inside line.
You can't even say an inch between the two because there's not even that with this amount of action that we're seeing. Pasquale Ranieri, Conrad Bohm going absolute tooth and nail through the final sector, but it's Ranieri who will pick up that P4. Conrad Bohm will have to wait a little bit longer. A couple drivers now choosing to get into the pits and get off those medium tyres. Also, we saw a lot of carbon fly, a lot of damaged wings. Maybe they need to swap those out just to try and give themselves a better chance as we get towards the final stint, but we've still got quite a lot of this stint left to go. Dive bombs from the Mercedes. Both teammates going side by side, trying to benefit here, trying to fight on against that Ferrari, and they're allowing Luca Rapazza in on this fight, and he's pushed up. Oh, huge battle, huge fight, a huge contact between Conrad Bohm, Ranieri, and Luca Rapazza. That's damage for the Red Bull, but he's not been seeing the worst of it. It's Ranieri and Bohm that have been pushed down to 13 and 14. Absolute disaster.
Oh, feels like we're back on F1 24. PCF2's back officially, everybody. It's been a while since we've seen moments like that taking place. Goodness me, what a chaotic start it has been. It has been action-packed all the way from lights out. Now, can I just say, we had no steward reports after Monaco, and I think they're going to have all in the world of steward reports after today from this second tier. So we'll see what will happen with that. But an incident down the straight, it has meant that we've seen a couple of pit stops come in. Lutt, Rapazza and Bohm have dived it into the pit lane. The rest of them continuing to make their way down towards the braking zone. We've still got 19 runners in this race, surprisingly.
Yeah, very, very surprising. We haven't seen a single retirement. Or better, yeah, that which shall not be named. I'm not saying it because I will commentators curse it. But if you know, then you know. But we've not seen it yet. And the McLarens are getting mighty close together. Prigibel looking to get a little bit racy on Leo Lund ahead of him. Everybody else is just trying to survive a little bit longer on these ever-degrading medium tyres after we have just had 7 laps of absolute action, chaos and carnage. Wow, I'm loving this so far, Romy. This has been a fantastic Grand Prix, but the stewards will have their head in their hands.
Yeah, I don't think they'll agree with all of the words that we're seeing about how chaotic it's been so far. Another driver to dive it in. This time it's Ranieri. Plenty of pit stops coming in. You've got things on the circuit and also in the pit lane as well. The McLarens, though, now running their race, basically, in second and third. Both applying pressure on Hietala, who knows absolutely nothing about all the chaos that's been going on. I'm sure his engineer will be informing him about it, but he hasn't seen it himself. He's been loving life ever since the race start. Hietala chasing what will be, well, his first ever win in PCF2. He's taken all the pole positions. He's taken his first ever podium as well, but he is chasing his first ever win here on his 18th start today in F2. Is today finally going to be the day? He's been a contender in a couple of races across this season, but can today finally be the race where he takes it all the way to the top step of the podium as well?
Oh, just on board with Caden Lott, who's making inroads there completely. Moves past Tolke, moves past Rishan Jacobs, and now sets sight on moving a little bit closer to Zador Presicam. That's quite a margin to gain to Presicam, but Presicam has 13 seconds loss to Isaac Leah and that train ahead of him. So we've got a lot of work cut out for him to catch everyone back up. We'll jump back to this front train as everybody sort of to settle down and not make as many risky manoeuvres. They're into that tyre management mode, or maybe where they need to see how long these are going to last, when is the right time to box, and can they make sure they have enough tyre life to go the distance if they were to box early and try and make some form of undercut strategy.
Yeah, all those questions now going through the driver's mind at this phase of the race. where finally we get to the calmness, where finally they're able to get there. Well, they're finally able to think about what is still to come and the important part of the race, because this is usually the part where we see them all running behind each other, all running their own races basically, preparing for those final stages later on. Because once the pit stops are done, when you are in that position until the end, that is when we usually start to see some of the wheel-to-wheel banging moments that we've had so far. But it's all started early. But for the drivers that are still running Harley, they'll realise, they'll know what has happened, and they'll try avoid exactly that and make sure they're not risking it at this phase when there's still a lot to fight for here in our 5th race of the season.
Right, Modeler getting a little bit friendly with Gabor Santos, getting closer and closer. He's not able to make any sort of overtake or move as Quintino picks up 3 seconds for track limit violations, multiple warnings. Keep it within the white lines, gentlemen. You don't want to do something that could damage your race, because here in Austria it's going to be difficult to bridge a 3-second gap.
Will be indeed. So you don't want to find yourself getting anything in the description of that. Lap 10 out of 36 we are currently on in this race. I mentioned it after qualifying. I'm going to mention it again. Furuheim doing a very good job in this one. Finally being able to contend nearer to the front of the field. And I think everyone would have expected that coming from PlayStation as the PSF1 champion. Well, Larrera is doing similar things in P6 after, well, he's just come straight from PlayStation. He's just, of course, finished the race at Kota, and he's come over and is now ready to race with us in F2. It's going to be exciting to see him across the rest of the season. He's going to be one of our reserve drivers from this point onwards. And into the pit lane to retire is Gabriel Quintino, who has just escaped that role. He's got himself to a full-time promotion in place of Liam Stevens, but unfortunately his first race in that role will not take any further, will not go any further than lap number 11. We're seeing some battling further back though, Corey, for P14.
Yeah, we are. We did just see Hayden Lott make another move in-road, finally getting past Tador Pressakan. He's really making a charge through this field, as well as Pascal Iranelli getting past Larry Tulke. So this sort of backpack that are trying to catch that huge DRS train ahead, as now here goes Rashan Jacobs to the inside. They're into turn number 5, turn number 6 even, getting through on Tador Pressakan. Pressakan starting to feel the burn on those tyres, and he's starting to lose a little bit of pace. He's got Pascal Iranelli breathing down his neck, where we do see Oscar Furuheim, Ryan Modler dive into the pit lane, as we see Pressakan following suit. Off the hard tyres he goes. So that gives me the question, is this going to be a 2-stop? Oh, retirement, never mind.
Yep, retirement as well. Coming into
Question
play.
and answered. There we go.
Oh, very, very quick. Oh, Bohm's got a 10-second time penalty speeding in the pit lane, and the reason why is he's also retiring. Well, that's 3 gone in terms of retirements early on in this race, so we've not got, we're already down a few drivers as well due to retiring in the pit lane. Pasquale Ranieri, easy move on the circuit down into turn 4. He takes 10th position on the road as well. Meanwhile, Nelson Alvarez able to do a similar thing to Luca Rapassa. Now these two together on the circuit, of course, they'll remember the fight that they had basically around every corner of this circuit earlier on in the early part of the race. They'll know that, so they'll definitely still be it'll definitely still be a bit of a heated battle between the two of them. Isaac Leet, driver in P8, comes into the pit lane.
Oh, this has been going on. Tony Atali, who was very comfortable with what seemed to be an 8/10 gap, has been diminished to a 2/10 gap by Leo Lund, and Leo Lund is looking to see if he can find an open door, looking left, looking right there to come up towards turn number 3. DRS aided all the way down towards turn number 4. Maybe we see a late lunge from Leo Lund, the driver who's known to do it, locks up that front right tyre and maybe opened up that inside line for Hatala to switch it back, but does well to hold on to the now lead of the race for Leo Lund. Yet to pit and get off those medium tyres. 13 laps in we go. He's certainly looking for that one-stop strategy. Those that have boxed quite early ask the question, have they gone a little bit too early? Are those hards going to last the distance?
Yep, That is the question that we now ask. First change of lead then has come in, as you mentioned, Corey, of this race. As into the pit lane comes Gregory PSGL then, as he dives it in, slows it down for the pit lane entry, and the McLaren crew await him, and they will send him straight back out there on the circuit as he completes his first pit stop of the day. And we make our way now out onto the circuit in a few moments time with him, as he will rejoin the road. Meanwhile, further back in the field, or further ahead in terms of the road, Imtiaz is fighting his way by, getting to the apex first, up against the AMR man there. So Imtiaz able to take the position as he moves up to P4 on the circuit at the moment. We still have 6 drivers running who haven't made a pit stop.
Yeah, you see your new reserve driver, Alessandro Lorero, who's trying to defend off that of Gabor Santos now. So the tyres certainly feeling a little bit grim for the Aston Martin drivers. That Kick Sauber is looking all over that rear diffuser coming out of turn number 8 and towards the final corners. Will we see a dive to the inside? No, he's let that position go very easy. Maybe looking to try and pit stop. Yes, he is. As well as Santos, Imtiaz, Sabrino and Hitawa. They're all going to dive in and get off those tyres and start to implement their strategies. Leo Lund needs to go 1 lap longer as the rest of the grid starts to fire their way through. Keaton Lott now into second position, will be in the lead of the race when Leo Lund finally decides to get off those yellow wall tyres.
So many different stint lengths in terms of you've had drivers on that hard compound tyre for 11 laps. It is all changing around, and then of course you've got ones that are just leaving the pit lane with now 0. So it is going to be such a fascinating race, and you're really going to see things close in. Talking about it closing in, Hietalo has just cleared Model up, and now he's going to set his eyes on PSGL directly up ahead of him as well, and then they will go on the chase in terms of the drivers that are ahead. But you've got the hard runners completely battling up against each other in terms of all the drivers, who even differ in the stint length. So it's, I think, a very well set up race this, due to the differing stint lengths that we've actually got in terms of each tyre. And Leo Lund, well, he's gone on once again.
Oh, it's really trying to push the margins of these medium tyres. Now, 20 laps on the hard certainly is possible. Leo Lund is looking to try and get all the life possible into those hard tyres to fight back through what will be the rest of the grid when he does ultimately box to change those tyres. He is only 11 seconds, just under 11 seconds ahead of Caden Lott, which means he's going to lose quite a few positions to those behind when he does get down that pit lane. What is it, around a 19-second to a 20-second pit stop here in Austria. So could see him falling down ever further to 10, if not 11th position. So we'll have to make major inroads with Leo Lund.
He will do indeed. This is turning out to be quite the race so far. We're now in the period where you need to stick with this race, where it's all about to explode and boil over once again. Oscar Furuheim pushing very close to the back of Rishan Jacobs. Leo Lund finally comes into the pit lane, meaning the net lead becomes the overall official lead out there on the circuit for Lutt, who will come over the line and make his way through. But it's getting super tight between Nelson Alves and Tony Hietala into the final corner. They're both off the road, and they will open the door. Going straight to the side, trying to take advantage was Modler at that precise moment. He's got ahead of Alves, and that was brinkmanship stuff as we threw it down to turn number 10. And here comes Rishan Jacobs trying now to make the move for second place. Furuheim is also in close proximity as well. The Ferrari is going to be passed at that moment. Rishan Jacobs moves up to second place, but he knows the job is not done yet, as Ranieri will try and fight this one. Watch Oscar Furuheim, who looks for a gap down in the middle. He now backs out of it because he knows this one is going to get very, very close. And Jacobs, all out of shape, gave a chance momentarily for Furuheim to fight it. And now second, third and fourth back to single file.
Got to say, very, very good awareness there for Oscar Furuheim. Had that open door coming his way on the exit of turn number 4, but saw Rishan Jacobs was completely unsettled and gets off the power and stays behind. Good awareness there from the Kick Sauber driver, who's now looking very, very racy and challenging Pasquale Ranelli as we get out of the final turn. Will we see a dive into turn 1, or will we wait for turn 3 as we get that DRS head once again out of turn number 1. So Oscar Furheim certainly showing his mettle here, as you say, was not doing too well, finishing outside of the top 10 in the first 2 rounds that he appeared in. Missed out 2, and he's coming back with an absolute bang as we go for a dive into turn 3 on the Ferrari man. Can he pull it off and get the traction down? Needs to go side by side on the exit. The rear wings are open. The Ferrari seems to have the upper hand and does slip back ahead. Furheim's not going to let this one go easy. He's going to dive once again to the inside of turn 4. Lock up on that front right tyre, but has managed to get it rotated without major disaster, but slight contact and wheel barging. Hard racing between the two, whereas further back you see Larry Tulke and Luca Rapassa battling it out as we get going into Sector 2 to finish off and get going into Sector 3.
Fresher rubber definitely helping Oscar Furheim at the moment. He is using it to his advantage, and he is clearing the cars that stand in his path. It's P3 at the moment, and he's giving this chase a little bit. He's going to go further. Next up is Rishan Jacobs, and then he's got about a 3-second gap to Lutt, who has been enjoying the fighting that's been taking place, because it's allowed him to have a bit of a breathing gap at the front of the field. Here comes Furheim, easy pass with DRS wide open, and second place is taken by the Kicksauber man, who is going to try and now close down the gap that we were referencing a moment ago. Meanwhile, further back, Leo Lund has just made the move on Ryan Modler. Making a move is exactly what Sergio Sabrino is trying to do as well, but cannot do it. He's stuck behind Tony Hietala. So many different pace levels out there on the circuit, and they're all meeting in the middle, giving us some fantastic fights.
Absolutely, we're certainly getting the elbows out. Some certain aggressive racing coming your way in this second stint, but some drivers have yet to pit again, I suspect. I'm looking at Caden Lutt, for example, and maybe even Tudor Prescott, not even Tudor Prescott, who was the other driver that's on 11 laps. So Pascal Renele, it's Luca Rapassa and Rishan Jacobs. Those hards are going to feel a little bit grim in another, I'd say, 8 laps time. When they hit that 20 lap mark, some drivers have gone longer. Looking at Leo Lund, who's gone the longest out of everybody, who's made some inroads so far. 2 positions gained after that pit stop, and the fresher rubber certainly working to his advantage, because look at the pace he's got as he now looks to an outside move on Sergio Sabrino and pulls that off with ease.
Yeah, looking further back as well. Imtiaz was looking for it, and looking for it is going to not be good enough. He'll have to absolutely commit, and commit is what he does as he takes the position. Is there an opportunity for a fight back 3 wide into the corner of turn 4, and it is going to be Imtiaz who leaves ahead, but now he's got Garrel behind, and Modler finds himself dropping down to 13th. A bit of a scare there would have been for Imtiaz, who had taken the position, and then suddenly had 2 cars looking up the inside.
Oh my word, no risk, no reward for these drivers, and they're certainly taking all the risks here in Austria, as you expect. One of those fast tracks. It's if you're off the line by just an ounce, you're losing tenths, and those tenths means the difference in speed for the car behind. They'll just pick up that open door and come firing through without a second thought. And as you can see how easy it is for these drivers to make it 2 and 3 wide as we get going now on lap 21. Any overtakes, any brave moves, any risky manoeuvres coming your way. We'll look back on Leo Lund, who's going to try and go late on the brakes and pull a fake up into turn 3, but couldn't manage to get alongside enough. Maybe get the traction down on the exit and bring a challenge to Hatali. Your pole sitter currently sits in 8th position with the McLaren on fresh rubber, breathing right down his neck.
Leo Lund, the driver, looming large in the mirrors, as you were mentioning, Corey, faking it a little bit, looking left, looking right, just making sure that Hietala is aware that Lund is behind, and this is going to be an interesting battle. Now, Lund was desperate to get by that time by. He's had to wait. He's going to go again as we will make our way on to the next lap of this contest. As well into the pit lane, though, will come a few contenders, including Ranieri, including Tulke, including Rapassa. So 3 pit stops coming in as we went on to the 22nd lap of the race. Leo Lund, though, still tucked directly in behind on Tony Hietala, but they've also got Sergio Sabrino that is very close at the same time in this precise moment. So now we're to the phase of the race where more pit stops come in, and the race just continues to change in terms of the order.
We'll take our eyes back to Leo Lund, who's making the most inroads so far. Gabor Santos is getting very, very close to the back of Rez Imtiaz. Any sort of opportunity to come that way? Not as of yet. Everybody falling in line, just following the trains through. But Gabor is certainly getting a little bit impatient, stuck behind that Alpine. You can see he gets closer, backs off this dirty air, doing no favours to those tyres. He's going to have to play it safe, play it calm and collected, and focus on the management side. But Santos not holding out through the fast corners, 7 and 8. He's looking to make inroads on Imtiaz, but not dived into the pits. And here we go for the 2 stop strategies that you are starting to see from your drivers. The front runners are in, including Caden Lott, who did go into the pits quite early on and get that huge undercut, which saw him at the race lead for quite a while.
Well, we told you about the 2 stops at the top of the show, and here we go. We told you about Leo Lund attacking Tony Hietala. Well, that is taking place on the circuit, and as he attacks, it's forcing Hietala into Gregory Prigibel as well. So we've got 3 cars not separated by anything as we throw it down to turn number 4, very nearly 3 wide. An open gap on the inside possibly for Leo Lund. Gregory Prigibel hangs on to the position, but Tony Hietala on the way out off the corner is going to try and take it, and he's done it. He's done it by turn number 6. He has taken the race lead, and Leo Lund still finds himself in that third. He was trying to improve a place. He was trying to improve 2 even. That's what it looked like, but it is Hietala who gets in front.
Yeah, Leo Lund was smart there coming into turn 4. I don't know if you saw it. The open door was certainly there. It was very easy for Lund to get on the power, but backed out a bit and was playing smart. Didn't want to risk unnecessary contact as the McLaren and Haas were side by side on that exit. Leo Lund playing it smart. Doesn't want to damage the tyres, if not put himself in unfortunate harm's way. And I don't know, this could be going Leo Lund's way. This victory. He's played this one beautifully. What a race for the McLaren man.
Yep, he really has. So many different strategies meeting in the middle in terms of when they've decided to go with their pit stops, and now a traction race possibly between the teammates Prigibel and Lund, both very close together on the circuit. Prigibel parks it in the middle on the inside line. Bit of a clatter between them as they stand on the power, but still Prigibel with the advantage. And Leo Lund having to sit in behind is the Swedish driver. Leo Lund, who finds himself P5 in the championship standings. Of course, our winner from Spa earlier on this season. That was round 2. He's at a 6th, and he's also at a 12th to go with that at Texas and also at Monaco. He wasn't with us, as I mentioned earlier on in the show, when it came to our season opening round at Australia. So he came in on the back foot, but he's definitely been on the attack, and he's definitely trying to chase down the championship lead.
Isaac Late diving into the pits to implement 2-stop strategy. I think it's only Leo Lund who is able to risk it and go the distance on these hards. Everybody else does not have a choice. They've gone to box early. The mediums were not playing in their favour. Of course, all that contact as well we need to take into consideration. It was chaos on the first 7 laps. A lot of carbon flying. These drivers have had to change up their strategies and go for an alternate route. But for Leo Lund, like we say, it's been beautiful. And for Hietala, who stayed well and truly clear, being your race leader, out of harm's way. And Gregory Prigibel has just been able to pick up piece after piece of all the carnage and clatter from behind.
He has indeed. And PCF2 races, whether it is your first or you've seen a lot of them, well, it is great to have your company, but in terms of PCF2 races, we have seen loads of times races being won due to having a calm head, due to having a cool head, and due to being patient. You've got to be careful, and you've got to make sure you're not the one involved or causing the chaos. And those are usually the drivers who end up prevailing by the end of the evening. It is very close between our top 3. Tony Hietala knows it, defends the inside line. Gregory Prigibel sends it around the outside line. They're side by side for the race lead. Out there on the circuit, better traction will go the way of Leo Lund now as he stands on the power, and he'll already be trying to draw alongside Tony Hietala. So Prigibel's gone. He's covered the middle of the road. 3 wide will momentarily go. Leo Lund looking for an outside door. Past 1, past 2 possibly, as he stands on the power, and he's done it. He's taken the lead. By the time we get down to turn 6, to P1 for Leo Lund.
Oh my, that was absolutely fantastic from Leo Lund to dive into the outside and pick up not 1 but 2 positions, and he's now bridging a 6/10 gap to his teammate, who are not teammates because they've been fighting hard all race long. Papaya rules for these McLaren boys. Just don't crash into each other. And there we see the gap open up ever more. 8/10 from Leo Lund.
Yep. Exciting stuff then out there on the circuit. Sergio Sabrino has been, well, distantly taking a look at what's been going on ahead and now wants to be a part of it as well because he is tucked right in the wheel tracks of the Haas. In the wheel tracks for how much longer? That was so late on the brakes. It was not under control until he got on to the brakes at the corner, at the apex. It looked like he was smashing into the back of either Hietala or Przegiel, but instead it is the reward of getting to P3.
Oh, Sabrino playing it risky, playing it brave. Burley making turn number 3. Plants himself ahead of Hietala. And as you can see, Leo Lund is starting to lose a little bit of time there to his teammate. But he's maybe thinking now, I've got to make these tyres last a little bit longer. Those behind, they're going to feel a little bit worse for wear. Especially Przegiel, 3 lap older tyres than Leo Lund. And Sabrino, Hietala, Alessandro are all 2 lap tyre difference. Keaton Lutz is only 2.5 seconds away from being... he's only 1 driver and 2.5 seconds away from being within a good chance of challenging for the lead with the fresher rubber. So can Keaton Lutz make those inroads and get past Alejandro anytime soon?
Yeah, looks like according to the chat he's got major damage and he's had that since the start of the race. Not the debut he would have wanted with us moving on from PlayStation, but it is going to be drivers getting by. One of his rivals for the title last season, Oscar Furuheim, is a driver to make the move along with Keaton Lott. And it is going to be side by side. Furuheim just trying to get to the apex first. The Ferrari further in behind of Pasquale. Ranieri will want a bit of it as well. Both the Aston Martin and the Ferrari twitch. And now Ranieri will have to send it the long way round the outside. He's going to have the position. That is what having a fully working car along with grip with the tyres does, and Larry Tulke also fights his way by as well.
Oh no, Alejandro's having a disaster. He's just losing position after position. That wing damage finally starting to take its toll. He's missing that front right end plate, and he's certainly going to feel that as we come through some of the tight the tight left turns, and now losing out once again to Rashan Jacobs down the start finish straight. It is Leo Lund leading the way, still with a comfortable gap of breathing space with Przegiel, Sergio Sabrino and Hietala, who is out of the DRS. He's going to start to struggle now. Oscar Furuheim moving up on Keaton Lott. These two are going to fight it out now, I reckon, for the next 7 laps as they try and get back into the DRS of Hietala.
This is a race that is brilliantly poised for the ending, where we don't know who is going to be the victor by the end of it. And we love PCF2 races that go the distance, that go all the way till the end. Remember Australia, where it went down all the way to turn number 9 on that circuit. It was a superb overtake from Rapasa to break home hearts that day as he took the win away from Przegiel right at the end after he had taken the pole, after he had dominated all the way through. And the cloudy skies that we had at the start of the race have gone. The sunny skies have come out, all set up for a perfect ending to this contest, which is reaching its final stages. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be very exciting indeed. Who is going to take the 16 points available for the victory? Well, we're about to find out. This is going to get quite heated indeed out there on the circuit.
I've got to say, for Leo Lund, this is much needed. These 16 points will help him along in the standings. Currently sat 5th, so he's not out of the championship fight yet, but neither is anybody else, as it is getting very, very close here into round 4. We see Oscar Furuheim and Hietala fighting it out here as we go into turn 4. Oscar Furuheim forced a long way around, does manage to pick up that position over your pole sitter. Yet again, Hietala taking a pole position, but this season still cannot turn that into a victory. Hietala may have to settle for 6 or lower. That damage is certainly starting to take its toll on the Haas now. You see Pasquale Ranieri looking for an opportunity to round the outside into the penultimate corner. Easy pickings.
It is easy pickings, not even a contest. We'd usually be hyping up moves around that part of the circuit, but not even a contest that time by. And Larry Tulke will be aware of that as well, as he will try and send his car through and off the road goes Hietala, completely opening the door there for Larry Tulke in that sense to go on by and take that position as we make our way into the braking zone. And yeah, Hietala is just being mugged at this phase of the race. Next driver to move up will be Rapasa. Had a very quiet race, hasn't had the race that he would have wanted by his standards as we head to the braking zone. Now Hietala knows this is one of his championship rivals, so puts up a little bit more of a fight than he has done with a few other drivers, but in the end it was always going to be Rapasa heading to turn 6 ahead.
Ooh, getting a little bit close there for Rashan Jacobs as he tries to power through turn number 6. Almost gets into the rear of the Haas of Hatala. Hatala's just dropping positions like water in a sieve. It's not certainly looking his way as we get going into the final 5 laps now. Leo Lund will cross the line to make it lap 32 of 36. And here we go into the final closing stages.
Yep. What a brilliant race it's been so far. It's time for an absolutely fantastic finish. Oscar Furuheim still trying to close down the gap to those 3 that are ahead. Our top 3 on the circuit, Leo Lund, Gregory Prigibel and Sergio Sabrino. Furuheim, though, is not alone. He is bringing Keaton Lott for company. You've got Ranieri, you've got Tulke, and you also got Rapasa in behind as well. So is Jacobs, but he will have a time penalty at the end of this race, which will affect things for him. And we mentioned earlier, Corey, that a time penalty would be so costly because the margins would be so close when they finish this race, and that looks like it will exactly be the case. Now Leo Lund, a good last 2 laps, a 1.1 second gap. He's trying to break out of 1 second and he's already done it.
Well, here we go. Furuheim in DRS, bringing Caden Lott with him. This is where things are going to get a little bit spicy. Caden Lott on the freshest rubber out of those ahead of him. We'll take a quick little look at the tyre difference there. Oscar Furuheim also matching suit, and then you see 18 laps for Sabrino, 19 for Prozibel, and 16 for Leo Lund. And with the way things are, 8 laps, 9 laps, even a 6-lap tyre difference is crucial when it comes to side-by-side action on the brakes, on the traction. It could mean all the difference in any battle that you find yourself in. Furuheim closing to Sabrino. Sabrino now starting to feel the pressure.
Yeah, and Alves has had a moment further back. Well, when I saw him, he was round at the final corner. Unfortunately, on the exit of it, was facing the wrong way down the start-finish straight. So whether that's been a spin by himself or contact made with someone else, I'm not sure, but we know the result of it. We know that he's P16 6.2 seconds away, and that is such a shame for the driver. P3 in the championship, a first and a second in the last 2 rounds at Texas and also the streets of Monte Carlo last time out. And unfortunately, Austria will not be going his way. We're on lap number 34, and I have to say Leo Lund has been absolutely brilliant with his attacking driving. 2.1 seconds is now the gap, and Oscar Furuheim will know that he has to try and go on the attack. Sergio Sabrino to try and defend from the cars in behind, makes a move of his own. The battle for second place now beginning to heat up. Sergio Sabrino wheel to wheel with Gregory Prigibel. All of this allowing Leo Lund to pull away as well. Is there going to be room for Oscar Furuheim to try and make a move? It is getting so tight. It is getting so tight between the 3 of them. Gregory Prigibel is ahead, and Oscar Furuheim does move up ahead of Sergio Sabrino. He gets up to 3rd position on the circuit.
Beautiful stuff from the Kicksawa driver, but Leo Lund knows exactly what's coming his way. He's really put the throttle down, 3-second gap, and Gregory Prozibel needs to try and fend off this charge, this absolute monsoon of aggression from Oscar Furuheim as he starts to make huge inroads, being on the fresher rubber out of all these cars around him. Caden Lott now needs to try and find an open door on Sabrino, but we're still all eyes on Oscar Furuheim as we get going into turn 1. Caden Lott's looking for an open door almost into the back of Furuheim, and you see Sabrino wobbling left and right. Tank stopper, and Pascal Ranelli's off and into the wall, and he is done and dusted. That will be Pascal Ranelli's race over. What has just happened there? Contact with Sabrino. I think I saw Mercedes also involved in that. So that's disaster for the Ferrari man. But here goes Furuheim around the outside, the long way around. Easy pickings with the DRS to get through on Prozibel. Caden Lott now will be trying to find an open door to proceed and to try and fight on and get past Feraheim for P2 as he looks to the inside into turn number 6. It's not coming yet for the Haas driver.
Again, Ranieri, again on the straight. Can you believe it? It's happened once again for him. Such a shame. We're about to go on to the final lap. Imtiaz has also made a move further back, but this is absolutely brilliant from Leo Lund. He saw the fighting behind, he's pulled away. 3.6 seconds he's got as we head on to the final lap.
Absolute domination from Leo Lund. Kept it cool, calm and collected, and is now bridged quite a breathing space on the final lap. Feraheim now broke in the DRS for Gregory Prezibel. All eyes on Caden Lott, who's going to try and look for an overtake as we get going up towards turn number 3. Inside line is well and truly open, and later on the brakes as he's able to do so. Having the better tyres makes it an undefendable move for Caden Lott. Gregory Prezibel was just sat as a spectator for that one, but could be feeling pressure from Larry Tulke behind as Larry Tulke now looks to the outside, going into turn number 4. Big lock up and a slide has opened the door for Rishan Jacobs to make it side by side on the exit of turn number 5, but he's going to be forced and shown the long way around, maybe even pushed onto the gravel, but nevertheless has to back out of that into turn 6. Cannot take the risk, does Rishan Jacobs, and I think this is how we shall be finishing off. All eyes on Leo Lund now as we get towards the checkered flag.
Yep, Leo Lund round the final corner for the 5th time in PCF2. Leo Lund wins the race. He takes the checkered flag first by 3 seconds to Oscar Furuheim, who gets on the podium. Well, the star from PlayStation has definitely proven himself as a star here on PC. P2, what a great performance by him. Keaton Lott in 3rd, Prezibel and Tulke complete your top 5. But that was a race where we had plenty of incidents. Well, down straights, down corners. It was definitely a PCF2 race at its finest. We've not had many of those on this game cycle, but that definitely was one, which we will remember. Absolutely incredible contest for Leo Lund. He'll be delighted and a deserving winner of this race.
Absolutely. What a Grand Prix. The first 10 laps, absolute chaos and carnage. 2 stops versus the 1 stop, and in this end, the 1 stop has prevailed and had the pace to bridge a 3, almost 4 second gap over the 2 stop runners behind. But those 2 stop runners still clawed it back to the podium. So it is a battle of attrition here. Which driver can use this strategy to the absolute maximum? And it was Leo Lund who came out the victor on the 1 stop strategy. Beautiful stuff there. Oscar Feraheim leading out in 2nd, and Keaton Lott locking out that podium.
Only the 3rd start in the 2nd tier for Oscar Furuheim, but all of the skill that he brought to PSF1 last season to be that champion he's bringing here, and I can definitely assure you he will be soon getting himself to a 1st victory, but a 5th victory is what it was to be for Leo Lund, who now puts himself equal with Luca Rapassa in terms of this field as the drivers who have the most wins as well in terms of our grid. Angelo Di Ortenzio has that record all time, but what a brilliant race and what a brilliant classification.
Absolutely. Now, we will take a quick little jump to the interview room to see if any drivers would like to come for a quick little chat about how their race has gone down. So stay tuned. The drivers are yet to join us if they so shall feel it. If not, then of course we'll say our good nights. But stay tuned. We may have interviews yet to come.
Definitely could. And we may get a few drivers to speak to. Who knows? Who knows? A lot goes on for the drivers behind the wheel that we don't get to see. So it's always great to get a little bit of insight as well in terms of what took place out there on the circuit. I'm so happy with how that turned out. I think another round which is just confusing us more in terms of how this championship battle is going to go. Big result for Leo Lund. In terms of this result, and realistically, I mean, the 4 ahead, Murphy wasn't here, Alves, Hietala and Rapassa not having their best days. I think it's absolutely fair to say. So you've seen him bolt for, but I think it could have been a good chance for Diego Zorzo had he been here today, but unfortunately he wasn't. But yes, the championship standings are going to change in a big way, I can definitely assure you And we'll have all of that for you next time out when we head over to the circuit of Montreal at Canada.
What I can say is we do have our P3 sitter. We have got Caden Lutt joining us, who sat in P3 after what has been a two-stop strategy. So the two-stop versus the one-stop in the end. But let's have your thoughts on qualifying before we go any further. How was that for you as we got going into 36 laps? How was your qualifying?
Thank you, first of all. And quali was, I think everyone saw what happened in quali. I didn't set a lap, so both of my laps were invalid in the last corner. So obviously there was nothing to tell about the qualifying. The pace was very good. I could have been in top 5 with my pace, but you know, these things happen. But I knew my race pace was strong, so yeah, let's go to the race then.
Well, on to the Grand Prix, of course. The two-stop certainly was working in your favour, had you leading the Grand Prix for quite some time and able to eventually bring a fight towards the final stint and potentially get higher up in the podium. Do you think P2 could have been a factor against Oscar, though?
Yeah, he played it very well. He was literally very dominating. Sorry. Yeah, he was really dominating the race in terms of pace and boxing lap and everything. Like he had good pace. You know, in practice I was really counting on my race pace as he was looking very strong. But Oscar really surprised me with his pace as well because he was like as quick as me, if not faster. So he was very good. And I don't think P2 was possible, but you know, I'm taking P3 from PL19. So
Yeah, no,
that's perfect race.
Absolutely was fantastic. Again, credit where credit's due, from P19 onto the podium. So a huge congratulations for that, and a huge congratulations on what has been a very stellar race from your perspective. The strategy was on point and you had the race pace to claw your way back up and eventually land here on the podium. So huge congratulations, and to Omi for any questions from you, my friend.
Yes, I'd love to know. I'd love to know. Well, first of all, how does it feel to get your first podium when it comes to F2? Of course, before this, in your 11 starts that you had, you've been in the top 5 once, you've been in the top 10 5 times. But to finally get that podium, I can imagine it feels quite special. And is this something we should get used to from yourself?
I don't know, man. I'm getting old these days, you know. So you know, I've experienced quite a lot, and I've been top of many leagues before. So this is one of the one of the other podiums I've had, you know. So I don't know, man. These new kids, they're fast. They're you know, they're crazy good. So I mean, you know, the race pace and race IQ could be my way to get the podiums, but you know, right? I think quali pace is like, you know, these kids have it nowadays, and they put so many hours into the game. So I don't think there's much to it, but you know, let's hope we get more podiums in this season and, you know, maybe finish in top 5 in the end. I don't know. You never know what happens, you know. We saw today from P19 to P5, P3 is possible, you know. What else then? If I started P17, could have won. Maybe not. Leo was too good, but yeah.
Yeah, he was. Well done. We do hope to be speaking to you more often here in the commentary box.
Thank you very much, man.
Absolutely. Thank you for joining us. We are going to get your race victor, Leo Lund, in the VC here. He's here for his interviews. Leo Lund, what a stellar drive. The qualifying pace wasn't quite there, but in the race, the one-stop strategy certainly worked to your favour. So let's have your rundown. How was qualifying for you?
Qualifying pace was actually great, but I was on 4.3, but I got a bump in sector 3, so I lost my lap.
Oh no, disaster strikes. We did see sector 3 was costing a lot of drivers their laps, especially coming into the penultimate corner and out of the final corner was looking a little bit treacherous for some drivers. So the bumps certainly not working in their favours. But on the Grand Prix, the one stop, how were those mediums feeling when you were coming into the pits in the end?
Not too bad, but they were bad, but I was managing them, so yeah. I could stay out one more lap, but it wasn't worth it.
Oh, not worth the risk, do you think? Was you even close to punchy territory, maybe? Or was you a couple more laps in the bank for that?
I was on 70, so yeah, one more probably.
Yeah, one more lap just to use. And then, of course, onto the hards, pushing on. And again, you bridged 3.5 seconds in the end. So when we got onto those hards, were you just managing for the majority part for the final closing laps to bridge that big gap?
Actually not, but it was like managing, staying behind the slow guys, so I just had to overtake them.
Well, again, congratulations. Race victory, first of the season, and hopefully we can... Oh, no, sorry, second of the season. That's to victories. You won in round 2, and now you win here in round 5, leveling it out with Luca Rapassa. So we may see you ever higher just yet. You two been rivals before. Do you think you'll be rivaling each other again this season?
What did you say again?
You and Rapassa, you're both on 2 wins each this season. Do you think you two could be rivaling it again once again?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, on to Orme. Anything from you, my friend?
Well, a similar question, but I want to go more in terms of the entire history of PCF2. You put yourself up to 5 wins now. That puts you equal with Rapassa, which Corey was just mentioning, but also Joseph Loke, Mirko Soriano, and Tamas Gal. The all-time win record in PCF2 is 8. That is by Angelo D'Ortenzio. Do you think you could grab 3 more to possibly equal it, or maybe even 4 to maybe beat it?
Yes, the calendar is looking good.
Oh, brilliant. Brilliant. So we could be making some history at the end of this season, Corey. A new all-time record holder for most wins in PCF2. But thank you very much for joining us, Leo London. We do hope that can happen by the end of the season for yourself.
Thanks, bye.
Thank you very much for joining us. A man of few words, but on the track speaks a lot in terms of racing action and the overtakes that you've seen. You saw the 3.5-second gap that to him was just, well, I was managing behind the slower guys. So that speaks for itself from Leo Lund and Rapassa. 2 rivals in history that you've seen over seasons in the past. Maybe you see them come together in another rivalry towards the back end of the season. And like you say, Orme, maybe we see a new record. They are rivaling each other and level on victories. So once again, we see another Lund and Rapassa rivalry. I'm interested to see how this pans out throughout the season. But again, thank you for joining me on this. It's been a fantastic round 5. Be sure to join us for round 6, where things are certainly starting to heat up as we get going in PCF2.